because we are squeezing up a little bit against the time, I'm going to take a moderator's prerogative and reduce the timing of the fourth round to 1 minute, okay? That's just so you guys can, we won't overrun, and I know everybody gets a little tired when that happens. So if that's okay with the candidates, good, because you don't have any other choice. We're going to go in reverse order of the random round that we did for round 2, for our fourth round, and we're going to start with John Daniels. And Mr. Daniels, were you in favor or opposed to the decision that will open the door to a possible Walmart on the Golden Mile? Expound for us a little on what your vision is for US 40 and what you think you can do to achieve it.
Let me address what I think we can do on US 40 first. We already have in place a small area plan that defines the redevelopment of that area. Implementing a small area plan is not like taking a bulldozer and running through a 40, taking everything down and starting building everything back. We have to do these as those parcels come up for redevelopment, so it's not going to all happen at one time. So I support the Golden Mile Small Area Plan. I think it's a great plan, and I don't think that the Walmart itself is a detriment to achieving the goals in a small area plan. I could address Walmart on a personal level and talk about Walmart as an employer or Walmart as a business, and that would be a different issue. But as far as the way it applies to the small area plan, I think Walmart serves the purpose of what was intended.
Very good. I see Mr. Lynch has raised his hand to use his 30 seconds. Any other candidates? Did I see another hand? No. Mr. Lynch, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in on that one. I do understand citizens who feel like whatever comes to that space and brings jobs is a good thing. But I was the only candidate that said you shouldn't rezone that property commercial when you had the small area plan and what the citizens had told you would work best and they thought was the future. If you're going to let citizens plan, then stick to what the citizens tell you.
Very good. Anyone else? Mr. O'Connor.
As someone who actually had to cast the vote on that, I can tell you that the citizen input on that was as evenly divided and voluminous as any issue we've dealt with in our time in office. My vote in support of the rezoning was that the existing mixed-use zoning on the property, what was there, was inadequate to achieve the goals of the small area plan. It's why I've advocated for putting the tools in place in order to do that in the future. The things that we asked of this developer in terms of infrastructure enhancements on that site would not have been possible without the conditions that we placed on it. So will it be perfect? No. Will it be an improvement? Time will tell.
Thank you. And Mr. Russell, I believe your hand went up too. 30 seconds.
It was a very difficult decision. It took about a year for me to come around and kind of understand the implications, but the conditional comprehensive rezoning tool that we put into place allowed us to essentially put conditions on this property that matched those that are in the small area plan's checklist. So we looked at the plan in terms of if it were regulatory, if we had that regulatory tool, how would it have looked? And we were able to put several conditions to get amenities and things in this development that are part of that small area plan. And so that's how it was viewed.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Very good. Mr. Lynch, we're going to come back to you for this next question. The question of raising revenue from selling signage around the city's Harry Grove Stadium has sparked some debate, even some controversy, but it could raise $250,000 a year. That's $870,000 for the city, $164,000 for the Keys. What do you think of this method of revenue generation in general, and is that a fair split?
I think at this point it's trying to put lipstick on a pig. You renegotiated the Keys contract, that was the time to get better terms for the city. You got parking lots there, I'd pay $1 to go park there, go to the game. That'd bring in some money. You had the chance to do naming rights, you didn't do it. So now we're going to put signs on the backside of the thing and we'll probably end up looking the way it did 100 years ago at stadiums. Lipstick on a pig.
Okay, would anybody else care to speak to that? All right, we'll move on. We're going to go to Ms. Russell next door to Mr. O'Connor. We had Starbucks, and for a while there, rumours of McDonald's made the rounds, stoking the controversial notion of chain stores amidst the charm of the downtown area. While there's no formal prohibition against them, what are your thoughts on introducing chains among our downtown Frederick businesses?
There was actually a study group of citizens and businesses a few years back that one of my neighbors sat on that asked this very question. And essentially, there needs to be a mix. A very small bit of incorporated chains, for example, draws an audience that a smaller store may not. So somebody who may not go to an independent store may go to a Starbucks and get a cup of coffee, but then on the way might shop in another store. So I think there's a certain draw, a small percentage of chain. I hate to. It's not negative. You know, I go to Starbucks. I confess I do. But I also go to Cafe Nola and I go to Frederick Coffee Company. And there, you know, I think there's you have to provide a mix of opportunities for people to shop and dine and, you know, spend their dollars as they see fit. So I certainly don't support turning the downtown into a commercial Banana Republic. That's what happened to Georgetown. The independent stores are what make it unique.
Very good, thank you. Anyone? All right, let's move on. We will now come down the table to Josh Bokey. Mr. Bokey, how do you feel about the Frederick Police Department's approach to illegal immigrants in the city? Should they do more to enforce the law, maybe even take part in the 287G program? Are you satisfied with how they stand now?
That's in 90 seconds as well, correct, about the immigration program?
We'll give you a minute.
Oh, a minute, right, and I'm already down to probably 45. Let me just say first that, and all kidding aside, immigration policy is at the federal level, and local law enforcement, to me, is about local law enforcement. And we are about that if you break the law, regardless of what your status is, you break the law. And that's how we should be approaching that. I will leave to wiser experts in our congressional delegation about how to handle the overall immigration issue up to there. What I'm more concerned about is what we've talked about before, which is ensuring that our police have enough resources to be able to police all of our neighborhoods. We know, for instance, that when we look at Carroll Creek, and we know that that has been publicized as some concerns with activity, the police, I think, have responded well in the sense that they've created a sub-downtown unit to help address that issue. But however, we also know, though, that that has pulled resources from other areas of the city. Is it about taking resources from one area to the other? No, it's about making sure we have enough resources for every area. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Would anybody else care to speak to that? All right. Next person who is up on our list is Derek Shackelford. Dr. Shackelford, as an alderman, you'll have oversight of all departmental budgets and have the voting authority to spend taxpayer dollars. But what specifically qualifies you to make the financial analyses in this area?
I'm a taxpayer. What specifically qualifies me in terms of skill level is I've head nonprofits and look at budgets and how do we utilize and stretch our dollars and maximize our resources. Also, being in the church is very important of how stewardship is undertaken. And not only how it's undertaken, but it's a sacred trust. And when people give their money, give their dollars, they expect a return on their investment, but they also expect those dollars to be trusted. And so, in those two capacities of being in a nonprofit and also being in ministry, I understand the importance of money. I also understand the trust, and also understand in terms of listening where those resources and dollars in terms of investment need to go.
Thank you. Would anybody else care to speak to their financial qualifications? Okay. We're moving on to Donna Kazumche. Ms. Kazumche, is a hotel conference center worthwhile enough for the city to make an investment of taxpayer dollars? And what site would you favor in the city?
We've answered this question again and again, and I will say the same thing that I always say. I would love to see a hotel conference center downtown. I do not want to see tax dollars pay for it. I think that is a private business, and I think that it would do well downtown. I don't have a problem providing some tax, I don't want to call it subsidies, when they're called tax incremental financing. So the property pays a certain amount of taxes now, and as it develops, it will pay more taxes. Sometimes you can allow those taxes to go toward paying for improvement of roads and stuff in the area of that development. I don't have a problem with that happening. I have a problem with general tax dollars going toward a hotel conference center.
Very good, thank you. Anyone else? We'll take
Support. the exploration of the possibility of a hotel conference center downtown. As far as the location, I'm going to leave that to the site committee because for various reasons that site shouldn't be disclosed until the property is identified because of escalation and other reasons. The Hotel Conference Center is an integral part of the Carroll Creek Linear Park, and it would be a really great addition for the walking loop that would be created from Market Street down Carroll Creek Linear Park and back down Patrick Street. It's exactly what we need to support those small businesses. Small businesses need foot traffic. Foot traffic comes with people.
Thank you. Mr. Boki, you raised your hand. 30 seconds.
Yes, I support the effort to bring a downtown hotel center into the city. It does need to be privately led and privately owned. Should a project proposal go forward, my understanding is that if it's successful, construction could start as soon as 2015. I think what's key is that it has to obviously be a project that fits the benefits of the city as a whole and is positive for the surrounding neighborhoods, wherever that location may or may not be in downtown. And the other thing I would just simply mention is that when we're talking again about investment, we want to ensure that we're investing both in the downtown as well as in the surrounding communities as well.
The benefits of a slightly improving economy, and so how we find the resources in order to get those done, I don't know at this point, but I think they're critically important. We have to find the resources to get them done.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Well, that concludes our interrogation for this evening. Thank you very much, candidates. We'll move on quickly and in reverse order onto your closing statements, starting with Eric Shackelford. 1 minute.
Thank you, Frederick News Post, WFMD, and thank you to each of you. It's a unique opportunity as we look upon today, this being the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. And it's interesting how we bridge our past to our future. This election, as all elections are, about our future and about the vision for our future. How do we connect our past and where do we go from here? We can talk about economic development, we can talk about fiscal responsibility, we can talk about downtown hotels, we can talk about regional parks. But unless its citizens are involved in this process, unless each citizen is engaged and involved and brought along in this visionary process, we are simply not serving our citizens to the best of our capacity and to our ability. And so I would ask that as we seek these offices, that we engage our citizenry, we listen, and that we serve them, and that we serve them with honor and with integrity. And on September the 10th, I ask for your vote.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Alderman Kelly Russell.
Thank you, Frederick News Post, WFMD, FCC, our delightful MC Cliff. It's been fun. When I first ran for office back in 2009, what I gave everybody in my platform, I said it's common sense for the common good. It wasn't about issues, but rather an approach to thinking through the issues and making decisions. And I stick by that. I think regardless of what the issue is, if you research it and apply common sense, think it through, get citizen input, understand what the needs and desires are, and weigh all of that, then you make the best decisions that you can. You're not always going to make the decisions that everybody agrees with, but I think it's valuable and it's critical that decisions are made in a thoughtful and balanced way. And so that's my pledge to you for the next 4 years. I appreciate the opportunity to serve. I'm so grateful and honored, and I hope that you will vote for me on September 10th. You can visit my website again, votekellyrussell.com. I thank you, and I look forward to serving you for another 4 years.
Thank you very much. Alderman Mike O'Connor.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Frederick News Post, WFMD, FCC. This community has been so good to me. It's the community that I grew up in. I've been fortunate enough to find a couple of different careers here as an elected official, as a teacher on this campus, as adjunct faculty, working for WFMD for a period of time, working for the cable company, doing journalism. I'm so fortunate to have the support of my wife, my 2 teenage daughters. It means everything to me that this is a community that I feel great raising a family in. And it's the kind of place that I want everyone else to be able to experience the kind of benefits that I've had. And while I know that's not true, I think that's a noble goal, and it's something that I'm interested in working for. I described it to someone recently, the last 4 years have been the hardest fun I have ever had. And I ask you for the opportunity to do it for 4 more years. I ask for your vote on September 10th.
Thank you very much. Jack Lynch.
Thank you. I chose to come to Frederick. I found it to be a better place for my family. I believe it has a great quality of life and a great future. I have a passion to serve, and I would certainly like to have that opportunity. The things that I've done over the last 12, 13 years here, I'll continue to do regardless of what happens in this election. I hope you'll just consider me. Read frederickcitizen.com. You'll see about 10 years worth of what I've thought about a lot of things. lynchforfrederick.com was my campaign website. Thank you.
And Donna Kazimchak.
Thank you for the opportunity. Hi, I'm Donna Kazimchak again. I have a voice and I'm not afraid to use it. To use it to ensure that you get the proper city services you deserve. I have helped rewrite the land management code, adding an adequate public facilities ordinance. I've been part of approving 2 separate comprehensive plans, and I voted to put neighborhood advisory councils and an education commission in place. I voted to fund Carroll Creek and Monocacy Boulevard. I have worked for the citizens of this city for the last 20 years, and I agree with Michael. It is the greatest job, the hardest job that you will ever love. I ask for your consideration on September 10th. For more information, please visit my website, www.votefordonnak.com. I would appreciate your vote on September 10th. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And John Daniels.
Yeah, thank you to our host. Thank you the audience again for coming out. This has been really a lot of fun. The next administration will be dealing with several issues. They'll be dealing with the Hargett Farm, what to do with it, and how to deal with the financial burden it creates. They'll be dealing with the blighted property issues and developing the tools necessary to return those properties to a productive status. They'll be dealing with Carroll Creek Phase 2. Construction should be underway, and possibly the issues concerning a hotel conference center. They should be dealing with the airport extension, which has somewhat fell off the table in the last few years, and we need to really move forward with that airport extension. And they'll be dealing with pensions and OPEB, and my wife said don't use the word OPEB, but I did. Both the funding issues and how best to manage those trust funds. These are complex issues that will define the direction of our city for this foreseeable future. I know the issues, I have the experience dealing with complex issues, and I understand the processes of our city government. I'm John Daniels, and I'm asking for your vote on September the 10th. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Josh Boki.
I'd also like to thank the Freshman News Post, FCC, and all of you who've come out here tonight for this opportunity. Neighborhood safety, affordability, economic opportunity. Those would be my 3 overall priorities if I'm given the opportunity to serve. I'm ready to apply my private and public sector experience. I'm ready to apply my volunteer service from organizations such as the United Way and the Mental Health Association to help our city. I'm ready to do the due diligence that will be necessary before we make any decision. Making sure that we listen first to our fellow residents. And also that would be pragmatic, but frankly also to be compassionate when we are making financial decisions as well as the laws that we make. Our son just started kindergarten the other week, and I'm very optimistic about our future here in the city. I believe that our community is strong. There are things, specific things that we need to do, we need to work on. But I believe that we collaborate together, we set a clear vision, and if we are determined in our resolve, we will get there, we can do it, we can benefit everyone here in the community, every neighborhood that's here in Frederick. Thank you for this opportunity. I ask for your vote on September 10th. Thank you.